Laura here, and today I'm going to be bringing you the traditional beginner reformer. So this is going to be the traditional, classical, essential, basic beginner order, however you know it as. I have a peak Pilates reformer, so I will just tell you the spring numbers that I am using. So whether that's 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And that should be adaptable to, I've worked on balanced body, Bozzy, peak. I said balanced body already, stot. So I will tell you the name of the exercises that we are doing and also how many springs that we will be using. I'm going to start with my footwork. So I'm going to have my headrest in the elevated position. And then with my headrest in the elevated position, I like to do my footwork on 3 springs. So I do my footwork on 3 springs on the, if you're on the balanced body, I usually do 2 reds, a green, and a yellow. Let's go ahead and start in a laying down position. In this laying down position, we're going to start in a Pilates V. So we're going to be heels together, toes apart. Your big toe to pinky toe are on the foot bar, about a fist width distance apart between those big toes. Hands are down by your side. Make sure that tailbone is heavy. We've got a lumbar... We've got a neutral spine, which means that my lumbar spine is not smashing down into the mat. I have my tailbone heavy, my shoulders heavy, and then from here I take a big inhale. And on the exhale, I'm going to press out. I exhale to push, inner thighs squeeze together, and then resist the carriage back in through the back of my legs. Inner thighs squeeze as I push the carriage out, resist the carriage back in and home. We're going to go for 10. We push, resist. As you push, even though you're pushing through the pads of the feet and it's a squat position, I want to think of my lower stomach also helping me to lengthen my body away from that foot bar. I have 2 more times here. And then on my last time, I pull the carriage in all the way. To change, I lift up to a tabletop, place the arches of my feet onto that foot bar, legs together, press out on the exhale, resist back in, bird on a perch. Toes are over, heels are under. As I press out and away, squeeze those inner thighs. Notice if you're tempted to want to smash that back down. That's going to eliminate some of that hip extension. So we want to try to hug the stomach in without that posterior tilt. You have that neutral position through your legs, through your hips. We have 3. In 2, we pull the carriage in all the way. And then the next time that the carriage comes in, hug the carriage in, lift the legs back up to a tabletop, flex the feet, place the heels onto the foot bar. Legs together, we press out, resist back in. Now this one is the most challenging one for me in terms of being able to be very precise with my form. I have the tendency to roll on my footprint, so I am specifically thinking about trying to pull my pinky toes back so that I can keep the bottom of my footprint against a plane of glass. That might not be a cue that serves you if you don't have the same issues that I do. But if you're someone that tends to have kind of Gumby ankles and tends to roll towards the pinky side of their footprint, then you're going to want to lift up through the pinky toe and feel this a little bit more in your shins. We have 1 more time here. Pull the carriage in, lift the legs back up to the tabletop, heels together, toes apart, your toes come back onto that foot bar. We press ourselves all the way out to 2 straight legs. I'm just adjusting to make sure that my big toe to pinky toe are on, and then from here we stretch the heel bones down, then lift the heel bones up. Stretch the heel bones down, lift the heel bones up. I take that inhale, I take an exhale. I inhale as I lengthen downwards. That helps me to open up a little bit more of my hip flexors. I exhale as I push the heels up. I want to try not to make this a staccato type of drop. I am really smoothly dropping the heel bones down, and that's also helped me to work my ankle strength. We've got 2. On 1, lift the heels up, bend the knees, and close the carriage in all the way. Now from here, if we were doing this traditional style, we would pull the foot bar up to bring it together and lay it down onto the carriage. Now, you might not have a traditional foot bar, so Just place your foot bar to the down position. We're gonna take the loops so that they come into our possession. Traditionally, we want heavy footwork springs with this. If the footwork springs does not work for you, you can be on 2 springs. We have hands to the ceiling, feet to the foot bar. Let's lift those legs up into a tabletop position. Hands are gonna press downwards towards the hips, lift the head, neck, and shoulders forward, reaching those fingertips long, and start your pumps. Now, just because I'm on 3 springs doesn't mean you have to be on 3 springs. You can definitely take this on 2 springs for your hundreds. Your fingertips are reaching long. Your head, neck, and shoulders are lifted up, optional. And then if you would like to, your legs can go out straight or they can be up. Traditionally, the way that I learned beginner hundreds would actually be to have the legs resting on the foot bar until someone is powerful enough to just float them up. But you do you. It's a contemporary world here. Tailbone is heavy. We take the inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. As you inhale, you widen through the rib cage. As you exhale, you deepen through that lower stomach. Try to keep the chest open. As you exhale, could you curl up a little bit more? Remember that curl is optional. We've got 3 more breaths. Inhale. Keep that carriage still. Exhale. Inhale. Keep your head, neck, and shoulders still. Exhale. 1 more breath. Inhale. And exhale. Lift the hands up. Rest the feet down. I here am going to change my springs. So rocking yourself up to a seated position. We take our springs onto 2 springs here. So that could be a red and a blue. It can be 2 reds if you're on the balanced body. Laying back down. The way that I learned to get into leg circles and frogs is in preparation for our short spine. So I buddy up both of my loops. With my loops up over my face, I try to keep my carriage still as I then try to take my legs up and over towards my loops. So that's a preparation for your short spine, how I was taught to know if someone was ready for their short spine. You can definitely have kept that foot bar up for your hundreds and use that foot bar to get into position. That's an option. I'm showing you the traditional way that I have learned to put in. From here, heels together, toes apart. We've got those knees in line with our hips. Frog. Press the legs out, inner thigh squeeze. Bend the knees back in. Your tailbone stays heavy. Exhale, press it out, low stomach in, and then bring the knees back in. I like to exhale out on the exertion. Inhale in to help me open up my lower back. You can also switch up the breath. The breath is a tool. It's not a rule here. We'll go for 2 more times. And then on our last time, hold the legs straight. We go into our leg circles. I like to parallel my feet. I lift my legs up, keeping my tailbone heavy. Open my legs to the width of the carriage. Pull down, in, and together. Lift up, open wide, down, in, and together. Now, I am someone that has had hip surgery from a sports injury from rugby. And so what I have learned is that hip circles for me are better when I stay within a smaller range of motion. 1 more time. We end at the 12 o'clock and then switch directions. Pull through the back of the hamstrings, open wide, lift up, and then pull in. I feel like sometimes when we try to get into the widest positions that we can or the highest position that we can, we lose some of our stabilizing strength. So when I keep it smaller, for me personally, I feel more of my inner thighs, a little bit more of my lower stomach, and more of my hamstrings as well. 1 more time here. Then lower to the 45, bend the knees in. We're going to take the loops off your feet. Once the loops come off your feet, hang them up onto your blocks. And then from here, rock yourself up to a seated position. As we rock up, couple changes, stomach massage. Take my foot bar to a high position. I'm going to put my footwork springs on. So for me, that's 3 springs. And then I'm gonna grab my sticky pad so that my butt doesn't slide around and put my sticky pad on my reformer. Now, as I go to sit down, know that you have the option to take your foot bar to a low bar if that high bar does not serve you. I'm gonna try to keep my foot bar on high. We'll see how it goes. You sit onto your sticky pad facing towards your foot bar. Take your hands to the edge of the carriage and place your feet so that they come like a Pilates V onto your foot bar. Now that was a very non-sexy, non-traditional way to get in. That's what works for me because my back is a little bit tight. So you are trying to keep the carriage closed in this in position and trying to be in your rolling like a ball position here. From here, press your legs out to 2 straight legs. Try to get a little bit more into your rolling like a ball position, sitting onto the top of your butt bones. Lower the heels, lift the heels, and then pull the carriage back in. And again, press, lower the heels, lift the heels, and then come back in. I'm not really liking my posture here, so I think I am gonna drop down to the low bar because I am already sitting kind of far back. Let's see if that works a little bit better. Okay, from here, press, lower, lift, and then pull the carriage in. It's a calf stretch, ankle stability, working the feet intrinsics as we take this lower lift. Try to keep your big toe to pinky toe on. When I first started this exercise, I noticed I had a really hard time keeping my big toe on. And this over time has been helping me to strengthen the arch of my foot. 2 more times. Some of these weird exercises, I feel like we have the tendency to kind of throw them away if we're not super familiar with the traditional method. When you come in all the way, switch your hands to the back. I'm on 3 springs. I'm gonna try to stay on 3 springs. Chest open. From here, if you were on 4, go down to 3. Hands are to the blocks. Knees are still on that frog. We press out, lower the heels, lift the heels, come back in and home. We're now on our flat back. So like I was saying, some of the weird exercises, I feel because they're kind of funky in coordination, we have the tendency to throw them away, but they're still super, super valuable. I'm someone that used to have a lot of issues with my feet as a runner and as an athlete. And once I started incorporating stomach massage, I noticed how much like deficiencies I had in my calves, in my ankles, and in my feet. So a really good one here, as well as being a lower core exercise, posture exercise. We have 2 more for 10. Chest is open, grow that crown of the head tall. And then on your next time, bring the carriage in all the way. Once that carriage is in, we go from 3 springs to 2 springs. So let's take off one of our springs. Once we have those 2 springs on only, take your hands, reach them forward, sit up as tall as you can, the reach. You press the legs out to 2 straight legs. See if you can sit up a little bit taller. Keep that length as you come back in. Press out, 2 straight legs, sit up a little bit taller, and then come back in. On this one, the heels are just staying in that releve position the entire time. We push like our frog, resist in for your frog. Stretch your hands out from your arms. You're stretching them out and off your back to help you try to have your flat back position. This is technically a closed chain exercise to your short box series. Your short box is open, your legs are floating. Here, our legs are connected to something. So it is prepping you for your short box series. One more time, and after we finish our last one, bring the carriage in all the way. We're gonna stay on those 2 springs, step off your carriage, your foot bar comes down, you're gonna put that pad away, then we're gonna grab our short box for our short box series. Headrest comes to the down position. Take your box, place it over the shoulder blocks if that works for you. I do mine over the shoulder blocks up against the shoulder pegs. And then I'm gonna grab my safety strap out from the base of my carriage. Making sure that my bolts are untangled and I've got everything locked in. I'm gonna take a seat on top of my box. I'm not gonna use the pole. I wanna make sure that that strap is at the top of my ankles, kind of where I would tie my shoes on, kind of where I would tie my shoes when I'm wearing tennis shoes. That's where I want that strap. Feet hip width apart, feet flex, seated up tall, hands to the front of my belly, shoulders open wide. We go into a round back. Tuck the tailbone. You start to roll yourself back, keeping your feet to a flex position. Then roll yourself forward, nose towards your knees. Then restack yourself back up tall. As you roll backwards, tailbone tucks under, pull your belly away from your hands, away from your waistband. Reach yourself forward and up like you're rolling over a beach ball, and then restack yourself back up tall. We'll go 3 more times. We round it back. As I round back, my feet are flexing. I feel this lengthening through the front of my hip flexors. I restack forward, nose towards knees, and then restack up tall. Then we go 2 more times. You also have the option to have a sticky pad underneath you if you feel like you're sliding. I feel like nowadays some pants are like really slippery material. So you might want a sticky pad if you notice that you're sliding around. After your last one, you sit up tall. You've got options with your hands. You can take them behind your head or you can take them across your chest like a mummy. I like behind my head because for me, I really like pressing my head backwards into my hand to help turn on my upper back. Then flat back hinge. We inhale, lengthen to the back, keeping a flat back position, and then resist yourself back up. From here, see if you're arching your back. I feel like I might have been. So I'm going to try to pull my low belly away from my waist a little bit more. And then I lean back. I feel my abs a lot more now. And then resist back up. Inhale, lean it back. Exhale, take it forward. Keep hugging the stomach in. Every time I lean back, I try to reach my head out of my spine a little bit more. Every time that I come up, I try to squeeze my butt a little bit more. Last 2. On 1, I'm going to hold the top position, keeping my hands behind my head, seeing if I can scoop my stomach in a little bit more. That to me feels like trying to pull my low stomach away from the front part of my waistband. I side bend over to the short end, resist back up, then go the opposite side. Side bend over to the short end, resist back up. I try to keep my butt bones down as I find this side to side bend. So it's just pure lateral flexion from my spine. I also have a little bit of energy going wide ways through my feet, even though my feet are still staying facing vertical to the sky. I'll go 1 more right side, 1 more left side, and then relax the hands down. We're gonna go into tree next. From here, I'm gonna take my right leg out. My left leg gets a little loose. My hands are gonna go underneath my thigh bone, sitting up as tall as you can. Kick your leg out to straight, resist back in. Kick the leg to straight, resist back in. Let's go 1 more time. Kick to straight, resist back in, or not resist, keep it out straight. Point your toe. From here, try to pull yourself forward towards your leg. And then, depending on if you've done this exercise before, maybe you rock back for your round back, just like the round back we saw a little bit earlier. Sit yourself all the way forward, and then sit yourself up tall. Bend the elbows, nose to knees, round yourself back. So we're prepping for our intermediate tree. And then exhale, pull yourself forward, sit yourself up tall. 1 more time. Tailbone tucks under. You round yourself backwards. And then pull yourself forward, sit yourself up tall. Opposite side. We go right leg in, just checking on those bolts, make sure they haven't turned around on you. Sitting up tall, trying to sit on your butt bones. You kick once, pull in, kick twice, pull in, kick 3 times, hold on a little bit higher. This one is not as pretty on me. We're gonna bend the elbows, round yourself forward, then tuck backwards like you're round back from your short box abs. And then round yourself forward, sit yourself all the way up tall. Dive yourself forward, round yourself backwards. Exhale, roll yourself forward, sit yourself up tall. 1 more time, bend the elbows, nose to knees, round yourself back. Exhale, roll yourself forward, sit yourself up tall. Relax your leg. All right, that's your short box series. We're gonna step off to the side, get rid of your box. Box goes off to the side. Now we're gonna take our foot bar to the top position as we set up for our elephant. foot bar to our high position, and just tuck my strap back where it belongs, home. And then once you've got your high bar, 2 springs, we're gonna take our hand to the foot bar, foot to the carriage, hand to the foot bar, foot to the carriage. Once you're here, your feet, I'm a little bit short, so traditionally your feet go towards your shoulder blocks. I don't like this position on my body so much. I take a little bit of a step forward. I puff up my spine a little bit more into an angrier cat back. And then for me, this gives me a little bit more stretch in that QL region of my spine. So once you're in this position, hang your head heavy, relax the shoulders down your back. Your heels are pressing firmly into the mat without hyperextending the knees. You press the heels to open the carriage just a couple inches and then resist it back in and home. So your arms are pressing straight and long. Heels of the hands are heavy into your foot bar. We exhale, press it back. Inhale, bring it back in and home. Push. And then resist back in and home. You can even lift the toes up off of the mat to deepen that work through the glutes and through your lower abs. Your head is looking towards your pelvis. We're going to go for 3. Every time I push, I'm tempted to move from my arms, but I want to make sure that they're pulled down my back and that it's my lower body that's moving the carriage. Last one. I bring the carriage in all the way. I step off, put my footwork springs back on. Once my footwork springs are back on, I can take my headrest back to that elevated position. Then I'll take a lay down onto my back again, getting ready for running. Your toes are gonna be onto that foot bar, hands down by your side. Pilates V, as we press out that first time, push out, parallel the feet. One heel goes up as one heel stays down, and then we'll switch. And switch. Once again, big toe to pinky toe on that foot bar as you take that prancing, that running in place position. They're both working here. So a lot of times we allow that bottom heel to kind of just hang out, get loosey-goosey. It's a push, pull, working through the lower leg on the back side for both legs. Keep that big toe and pinky toe on that bar. We've got 1 more each side. It's 10 pairs all together. Once you're even, bring the carriage back in and home. Second position, heels or arches onto that corner of your foot bar. I like arches. For me, I can tell my hips are a little bit tight, so I can't go as wide as what I usually do for the pelvic lift. Pelvic lift, just the bottom half of your body is coming off. It's not a full bridge. We tuck the tailbone underneath. Your butt is elevated, but my rib cage is heavy. It's kind of like that elephant position again. From here, press your legs out to 2 straight legs, and then pull the lower stomach into you more to bring the carriage in. We inhale, open, exhale, tuck, and pull that carriage in. So each and every time, it's more of a posterior tilt to pull the carriage in. I have a soft head, so it doesn't matter that that headrest is up. I don't have pressure through my head, which is why I can have that headrest in that up position. My weight is across my hands and it's across my shoulders. We're going to go for 3 more times here. In 2, we're going to bring that carriage all the way back in. And then final one, we bring our carriage all the way in and then articulate down, down, down. Tailbone comes down. I like to drape the legs over, take the hands up, 1 roll up to come up. So I tuck my chin to chest, curl myself up, and then swing my legs over to the side. And then you are all done with your basic beginner essential reformer, the traditional Pilates reformer. I hope you had fun during that workout. I had a really great time guiding you through it. This essential reformer, I love how it feels in my body. It always, taking it back to the roots of Pilates, Pilates helps to keep me honest and how my body is progressing, on where I'm tight, on where I'm getting stronger, on where I'm getting more flexible. Just like in strength training, how you have those core movements like your squat, your deadlift, bench press, rows. this essential reformer is kind of that equivalent. So come back to it, bookmark this, save this so you can keep doing this and see how you're progressing over time. If you're someone that does like to sprinkle in a little bit of classical, or if you're someone that does a little bit more mat or a little bit more of other modalities of working out, I really like bringing it back to the basics to just see how my body is doing and see how my body is improving. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe to my channel so we can keep getting stronger together. If you have any questions about any of the exercises that we did, leave it down in the comments below, or you can message me on Instagram, laura.melgar.fitness, and I'd love to chat with you and help you kind of, pick apart what exercises maybe we're giving you some challenges or any exercises that you had questions on. And thank you for letting me guide you in today's essential reformer. Have a good one.